Every day that you eat well, you add wellness to your life. It's like health deposits. You're either making health deposits or you're making health withdrawals. The more healthy you eat, which means that you eat more plants, it's going to make you fuller quicker. Here's why. Plants have fiber in them. Meat, dairy, processed foods do not have any fiber. The other thing that plants have in them is that they are nutrient dense, meaning they have a lot of nutrients for a small amount of calories. Here's why that's important. When you eat food, you swallow it, it goes into the stomach. Two things make a signal to the stomach to say, hey, I'm full, it's enough. The fiber and then the nutrients. You eat enough fiber, you're going to be full. In America, we eat around 30 grams or less, okay? In some countries in Africa, they're eating 100 grams of fiber every day. And when you eat that amount of fiber, it is not only gonna make you full, but it's gonna make your gut very healthy because fiber is the food for the good bacteria in our guts. The more fiber you put in your diet, the more you feed the good bacteria in your gut. The better the good bacteria in your gut, or the more that's present, the healthier you're going to be. 70 to 80% of our immune system is made by the good bacteria in our gut, amongst other things, okay? So eat plants. So the more you eat plants, the less you will eat. The less you eat, the less you have to spend on food. The less you'll eat, once you actually get cleansed and your body detoxifies, you get the toxicity out of the body, you get the parasites, which I've talked about in several other videos, out of the body. You lower the amount of yeast that is in the body that's causing you to eat so much sugar. Now that your body is clean and detoxified, you're definitely gonna eat less, because the body really only wants nutrients. It doesn't want a whole lot of food. It wants the nutrients that is actually in the food, because we know that because most of your bowel movement, that's your food that's coming out. The only thing that's extracted out of it is the actual nutrients that is in the food, okay? And the fiber. And most of the fiber comes out on the other end too. So it's really important to understand the healthier you eat, the less you will eat. So that's one way it saves you money. Number two, the healthier you eat, the less medical bills you're gonna have. On average, it costs about $17,000 if you're diabetic. And less time off of work, less time in the hospital, less doctor visits, the list goes on. And the reason why that's so important is because medical debt is one of the highest debts for Americans. The cost of getting cancer, many cancers, which are actually, you can protect yourself from, you can prevent. When you start to think of the cost of cancer, it could be $100,000 a year with some of these medical treatments, especially if you start to get in some of these gene therapies. So think about that. The long term, you gotta look at the investment, because every day that you eat well, you add wellness to your life. It's like health deposits. You're either making health deposits or you're making health withdrawals. And it also means that you have a longer, higher quality of life. It's cool to live to 76, but let's say, for instance, you get diagnosed with dementia, which a lot of people are getting diagnosed with dementia in the early 50s, late 40s now. So let's say you get diagnosed with dementia in your early 50s, then you get diabetes, then you have a heart attack and a stroke. So you live out the remaining 26 years of your life in a state where you're bedridden, you don't remember who your children are. Like, that's not the life to live. So that's what I mean by when you eat healthier, it pays in the long run. Number three, it creates natural beauty. When you eat healthier, you age gracefully. Not just age gracefully in terms you get to keep your health, but you look younger, your skin is more beautiful, your hair is more healthier, longer, nails are more healthier, longer. And I can't tell you how much money people spend on hair, nails, and skin. And all of those things are beautified when you eat a whole foods, plant-based diet and your diet is balanced. During the pandemic, we discovered that people were lonelier. We discovered that people were more depressed. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of that loneliness and depression has come even after the pandemic is over. And the beautiful thing about eating a whole foods, plant-based diet, it's been proven. I lived in what was called a blue zone in Okinawa, Japan. And these blue zones are zones or regions around the world. There's only 5 of them around the entire world where people live the longest and they have the highest amount of centenarians, people who live to 100. So I lived in Okinawa, Japan, one of the zones that has had one of the highest amounts of centenarians historically. And they live happier, longer lives because they eat primarily a plant-based diet, no processed foods, things of that nature. So you're gonna live longer and happier too. So that's one of the upsides. You live longer and happier, you're gonna spend much less money. Okay, so just think about it. Longer, happier, healthier, less disease, less money on medications, as I mentioned before, or healthcare, and then less emotional eating. All of these things tie into each other.